think you should.
Welcome to this week's episode of Whoscussion. We are your hosts, ThatRandomGuy, and the sensually pleasing Harry Skelly. Yes. I think one day that's actually going to be your online name. I can see it happening.
Sensually pleasing Harry Skelly.
I like it.
That'll be it. Text somewhere. I'm sure I'll be able to get that. I mean, most games these days, like, they try really hard to like reduce how much text you can have in your username. Like, they try to like limit you down to like 12 characters or some bull crap like that. So I don't know, maybe. I mean, one day they'll realize that there's probably going to be an infinite amount of people on gaming sites at some point, so they might like increase the limit. Like, I know that like Blizzard's one is so short that I had to actually shorten my name down. I had to take out one of the L's. So I don't know if they ever fix that. Then yes, it'll be essentially pleasing Harry
Skelly. Yes, I love it. But anyway, for part A this week, we're going to be covering horror of fan rock, not the horror, as I kept trying to Google search today. Horror of fan rock, and then we'll follow it up with the invisible enemy. Yes, for part B, we're going to be covering the 8th Doctor story, Oblivion, and we'll be following that with the 3rd Doctor short trip, Time Tunnel. These short trips are certainly getting longer, but they are definitely getting better. So, so I've got horror of fan rock for this week, and it is essentially a Penny Dreadful with an alien in it. And a lot of Penny Dreadfuls did. Pretty much H.G. Wells' work is pretty much Penny Dreadfuls with some sci-fi elements.
Considering H.G. Wells is mentioned.
Yeah, he is actually mentioned in the story. It was great. I was like, that's so on the nose, but like it works because it's the time he would have been writing. Yeah. Though I think somebody in the comments is going to be like, H.G. Wells didn't write any of his books. He was a ghostwriter, which would be hilarious.
Yeah, it was totally a woman. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, horror fan rock is interesting because it's almost a base under siege story.
It's so 3rd Doctor.
Yeah, it's a very, very base under siege story, and I kind of like it's like the aesthetic a lot. I love the old timey seafarer that worked at the lighthouse. So basically the story takes place in a lighthouse. Almost 100% of the story takes place in the lighthouse. There's the old school Victorian possession, because there has to be possession. It's a Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, of course.
There's some ghost-like elements that are obviously explained away with science. And there's the young fella who's extremely superstitious, who's like, there's a story about the horror of Fungus. And he's pretty great. There's some rich people turn up randomly. You never see their captain because Penny Dreadful. A captain dies off screen and everybody's sad about it. And you're like, yeah, I didn't know him. Should I be sad too?
It's like a solid, like, gothic.
Yeah, it's so gothic horror, man. It's amazing. I love how there's fog in almost every scene. Like,
yeah, and it's like the It's not just like standard fog. Like, it's not like they took like a green screen and added like a foggy background. They actually just straight up put CO2 machines.
Yeah, yeah, man. And so electricity's just been introduced into this lighthouse. So it's it would be the very, very late 19th century. So the older fella who's the leader of I suppose is the commanding officer of the lighthouse, he's real anti-electricity, and he's like, this sort of stuff wouldn't happen if you used oil, boy.
It's so great.
I love it. Nothing wrong with oil, boy. And then like he's like seriously, if you're an oil company in modern times, you need this guy as your spokesman. That wouldn't happen if you used oil. And it just the Doctor. What I love about this story is it's the first time I've ever felt the Doctor just turns up and then the monsters turn up. It's like, I know that's like a
Yeah.
trope of Doctor Who, but this is the first time I've actually properly felt the trope. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, the monster's only here because the Doctor can defeat it. Like,
That's totally the reason.
and the monster that they introduced for the story is the first time on screen we see the Rutan.
Yeah.
So the Rutan are the aliens that the Sontarans have been fighting the Endless War against, and the Rutans were first ever mentioned in the Time Warrior by the Third Doctor, and it's interesting to have them introduced. You can see why the Sontarans are like fully against them, because they can possess people.
Yeah.
And they're quite powerful with their possession. They increase the physical strength of the people they possess.
Well, it doesn't seem like it's a possession thing. It's more like a copy. Like they copy they take over the size and shape and look of a person, because he was able to the Rutan was able to look like the old seafarer guy.
Yeah, and talk like
with
the old Seafarer guy.
whilst he was like dead in a ditch somewhere. So that's what I'm pretty sure that was the case.
Also, they have like really powerful electrical powers,
Yeah.
which was interesting, because I suppose the story writer was trying to contrast the fact that electricity had just been introduced.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. Particularly, they look like jellyfish. So I think that was the idea that they were going with. Is that because they were jellies, they have like a shock thing, which is weird because jellies don't actually have a shock. They just have like a poison.
They have a sting, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a shock when it stings you because of the way that it reacts, but it's not like an electrical charge or anything. So yeah.
Yeah. So apparently there was heaps of like behind the scenes stuff that happened in the story that thankfully don't like shine in through to the story. Like apparently Tom Baker like hated heaps of this, and I'm just like, oh, I'm glad that didn't shine through.
Yeah, because it really, that's really his whole deal. It seems at this point is that he's really anti everybody else on the show.
Yeah.
Like basically he just wants to be the writer, director, and the only actor in the entire show.
I reckon he could have done that one man episode that Peter Capaldi did.
Yeah, he absolutely could have. And that's the thing is that like I bet you anything you like that Tom Baker was sitting in front of the TV watching it, being like, "You guys,
you bastards! That's what I wanted.
This is what I wanted."
I could so see that happening, but yeah, it's. I thought it was pretty decent. It's very sci-fi light, very much going for the fantastical in the story, and it's just a gothic horror romp. It's pretty great. I think the ending's my favorite part. Is that like the Doctor kills this monster, hasn't actually saved a single person. Is like, well, that's a job well done. I'm like, no, it's not. No one survived.
Like, everyone died and killed the monster and killed the fleet.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, no one.
And I'm just like, there's an interesting...
You save the planet and that's it.
Yeah. There's an interesting scene at the end that they used to explain Louise Jameson using her natural eye colour, because she had actually been using coloured contacts, and she absolutely hated wearing the coloured contacts. And thankfully, the production crew were okay with her no longer wearing them. And she has a scene where there's a flash of light that blinds her. And I love that as soon as she's blinded, she's like, "Doctor, you must take my life. I'm of no use now." And the Doctor's like, "Really? Just blink a couple of times. Because somehow that fixes it." Doctor Who, that's how.
Well, it was like she'd never had like she'd never had the example of when you look directly into a bright light accidentally, like when you're going to the toilet in the middle of the night and you flick on your bright lights. You're like, "Oh man, I am blinded. Kill me,
please. I've got so much to give." And so it's. I feel like it would have benefited from being maybe just a two-parter.
Yeah, I guess
a bit more streamlined.
It does kind of seem like it drags on there for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's got that Penny Dreadful feel to it, really. That's what I see it as, is that the gothic horror element to it, where it's where you don't see the enemy for a while, and people are just like dying. Sometimes kind of feels like it's off screen, even though you're actually seeing it.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of seeing it, you're hearing it, but they're basically dying off screen because you're not allowed to see the enemy, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, I love, my favorite thing about the story is there's like this lady who's like really weak-willed, and Leela like beats the shit out of her. It's just 'cause she's so annoying.
It's solid gold.
I love it because like she is so annoying, and like Leela does like you couldn't do it obviously because you're a bloke, but like she does it, and you're like, thank God, because someone needed to sort that lady. Yeah, she was so annoying, and when she died, I was just like, yes, you're so annoying. Like I love when like
That was totally it.
yeah, and like Leela's like, what, hasn't she seen death before? Why is she so weak? And I'm just like, yeah, I love it. Leela, you're the best. You can be my best friend now, Leela. And it was great. I loved it. I don't know. This one is definitely a hard sell if you're into the old school Victorian era horrors. Give this a go. Thankfully, it's before CG, so like it actually benefits from that.
It does actually.
As soon as you introduce like CG to a 19th century setting, it loses like all relatability.
Yeah, well, you don't really need it. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, unless you've got aliens, which is kind of the deal. But
yeah, I think the double exposure method in this worked quite well.
It did actually. I mean, the spaceship that came in.
Yeah, that part not so much.
Not so much.
Which is funny because guess who did the post production for this?
Oh no.
The guy who did the light in Mask of Mingadora.
Yes, of course.
As soon as I saw that effect, I was like, Harriet Skelly's gonna hate this. It was so good.
I don't know, man. I like double exposure being done, but it just seems so shoddy when there were other things available at the time, you know? Like, Doctor Who's been able to pull off some good things. And I mean, like, they even did the model work for the ship being crashing into the shore. So why couldn't you have done some model work for a spaceship?
Yeah, I would have preferred that so much more than just a light. I don't know what Ian and his like love for lights are, but he needs to get rid of that pretty quick, smart. I know it's the past, so he might have already done that. But
he's probably already done that, yeah.
Wow, I don't know why he does it. He's like, man, what should I do for post-production? I know, some lights.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, you should probably just do model work. That'd be even better. But yeah, so that's Horror Fang Rock. Can't really say I could recommend it. It's I mean, it's not bad. I love the character, especially the old businessman guy. I really liked him.
He was a really interesting character.
Yeah.
I really would have liked to have known what he was peddling.
Yeah.
That meant that that guy's honor was at stake as well. Like,
my honor.
Like, he was like, I'm pretty sure that what the deal was is that like he was dealing in stocks.
Insider trading.
And he was doing insider trading for something. But this is back in the day when that probably still was actually illegal, like still legal to be an insider trader. So I'm not sure exactly when that became illegal, especially in Britain. So I don't know that for sure, but it seems like something that wouldn't have been made illegal for a little while, because this is still in the times when basically they're the ones who controlled the government at that point. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. But I would have definitely have liked to have heard exactly what he was doing by the end of it, like him like trying to confront somebody about it, or even like he like starts to think that the alien is coming after him for his knowledge or something, and like tries to give away his sins to the Doctor, being like, please, no, this is what I did, and the Doctor just not caring about it and letting him die. That would have been great.
And it would have been really Fourth Doctor as well.
It would totally would have been like, or like if it was something bad enough that the Doctor just actually let him die. Like if that was the reason, like he'd actually like the reason why he'd done it is he was in trouble and trying to like chase this stuff down was because he'd killed somebody for the information or something. Like that would have been a lot more doctory to me. Actually, it would have fit the time a lot better. The way that the Doctor was acting, and the way that the series was going was that there was a certain way they played evil characters. Is that they were like proper evil, that actually properly done something bad, and the Doctor just let them die all the time. So the story does kind of feel a bit weird in that aspect, where it doesn't fill that template as much, where the Doctor just sort of lets everybody die at this point, good or bad. Like,
and then he's just like, I did a good job, and I'm just like,
it's like, whoa,
I don't think you did. Just before we head on to the invisible enemy, my absolute favourite moment in this entire story is when the Doctor goes, "Did you destroy the telegraph machine?" Yes, he destroyed my honor. And then he like very slowly tells him how screwed they are because he did that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's solid gold. The thing is that like he knows, like he's clearly got the look on his face. He's like, I've really messed this up, and the Doctor's like, yeah, you really messed this up. This is how you messed this up. I need you to feel really bad about this.
he's just like, everyone's gonna die and it's your fault. But he like the way he like Tom Baker words it, and like the pacing of how he delivers the lines, that just like this sense of dread just goes into the guy, and he's like, I'm so sorry, man. How can I make it up to you? You literally can't. Yeah, with that we'll move into the invisible enemy. So Harriet Skelly, take me into the invisible enemy, or the fungus that's face here.
The fungus that's face. Wow. All right. I'm not sure how to deal with that. I guess that's kind of what it feels like. It does that. The thing that they did to show when someone was infected, kind of made the whole thing seem pointless, really. Which is, I guess, that's why you brought it up. The fact that they have this weird, like, scale eye thing going on.
Yeah,
that
and people are like, don't seem to notice that they're the infected people.
Yeah, like the thing is that even in story, he like covers his face to show up to stop them from figuring out that he's infected. But it doesn't. It seems like they don't. Like initially, they don't know at all that's what makes them different. Yeah. Surely, when you look at a guy and he's got some really weird stuff going on in his face, you'd be like, "Hey, what's going on with your face?"
You would actually ask that question. You'd be like, "I think when I talked to you earlier, your skin didn't have extra hair and scales."
Yeah, what's going on there? So yeah, that is where this story kind of you lose some sense of belief here.
Yeah.
So
straight away.
Almost immediately. But there's other points where you start to lose that as well. Like the big prawn creature. Once it gets its size increased, it turns into this giant prawn. It didn't look like that.
Yeah,
when
right.
It was like head.
It was like a pimple with like an arm for a nose.
Yeah, it was like this. It was clearly like a bacterium of some sort, which is that's the virus. This anyone who knows anything about biology loses all sense when it comes to the story, and it's very much the same in the thing that it's being ripped off from, Fantastic Voyage, where the human biology doesn't work like that. Yeah. And basically, every single time you've seen it in a TV show or generally the way that you see it is in a parody sense, because basically the only way that you can pull this off is by being a parody. Yeah. Because biology doesn't work like that. I mean, I guess because he's a Time Lord, you can say that the reason why things are going on differently inside of him and in that fashion is because of his Time Lord physiology.
That would be such a lame get out of jail free card.
Well, it is still a get out of jail free card anyway, but it's still just kind of weird. Particularly the fact that, like, there was this like dark zone where they passed through his brain, and it's like that doesn't make any sense.
The story is so dumb.
Yeah. It basically as soon as they started moving inside of his body, it just went downhill from there, really. Because the whole idea of people you know like losing their minds to something, that makes sense. That's a good premise for a story, is an alien that can invade your mind and control you, and particularly having
almost like Horror of Fang Rock a little bit.
A little bit, not you know. There's still like the clone effect with that one in being mind controlled, especially considering like
talking about clones. Clones, eh? Clones and the invisible enemy.
Yeah, clones and the invisible enemy.
That makes a carbon copy of you.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's.
Why does the clone have their memories?
And why does it also seem like they're actually like linked?
Yeah.
By mind as well. They tried too hard. This one, and it's probably where the whole parodying the Fantastic Voyage thing comes from. Is this very story actually? Because this has got to be the most ridiculous way to tackle it, with the going into the future and alien stuff going on, and just the giant prawn. The giant prawn.
Why is it a giant prawn? It's so
I don't
bizarre.
know. I don't understand. It's weird. There's some really weird bits to this. And basically, if you have any scientific knowledge at all, any background in anything, just even if you took just high school science, you lose a lot of the elements to this. It is so weird. It's so weird. I mean, I like the whole thing about seeing the inside of the Doctor's body and seeing what a Time Lord looks like from the inside. But it's not enough. It's not enough to give it the lease for that. It's a blatant rip-off of a story that's 10 years older than it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The only good things that come out of this are K9, who is the only real like good part of the story is him as a character. His origin just so no, please no.
Yeah. He was great.
He is a great character, and I'm so glad that we now have him on board.
He's like laser proof as well. That's really random.
Well, yeah, he's like he's an automaton. He's built to be.
He's like military grade. Like he's like killing people and stuff as well. Like
yeah, it seems like the idea was that the Doctor built him to basically be an all-purpose drone.
Now, when Harriet Scully talks about the Doctor, he doesn't actually mean the Doctor.
Oh yeah,
he means
the
Doctor they built Kane.
Yeah, that guy.
What's his name?
I don't even know. I don't even
the Doctor? I don't even care.
He wasn't important. None of these characters feel important.
No, they're all throwaway. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like there's like this point in time where the guy there's a guy that wasn't infected originally, when they appear, and then he gets infected, and it seems like he becomes the leader all of a sudden over the entire group of infected people.
Yeah, right.
And it's not really necessary because he looks almost identical to everybody else, especially with the things they're doing on their face. it seems so pointless. Like there's only a few moments in this story that you can you feel like you're basically in a parody, and this is more like kind of a fan service to, I guess, to just people in general when it comes to Doctor Who, with having a tin dog show up. And that's sort of like a a fan service to everyone in the past, actually. Sorry, in the future, when when they already know who K9 is. It's the weirdest scenario that I found myself enjoying it so much more because K9 was there. Like it's weird to fan service the future, but there's also like this point where Leela puts on this ridiculously green jumpsuit.
I love that, and the like plastic bag gloves.
But the thing is that it is a skin tight plastic suit. That is the point I'm trying to make here. That is something that is extremely surprising that it was allowed on television, considering the backlash they got from Leela being there in general.
Yeah.
So they pulled some strings to pull that one off. But yeah, this story, man. This story, I don't know how to deal with it. I'm just glad that I decided to, instead of doing what I normally do, where I read and the comic and listen to the audio and then watch the old stories. What I did this time was do the old stories and then do the reading and the listening. So I was glad to just get away from it, get it out of my head, because it doesn't make any sense what goes on.
It's not the best.
So yeah, that's the invisible enemy. It's not on the list of required watching.
Oh, it's not on anybody's list of required watching, man.
So just don't worry about it. I mean, of course you might miss out on the fact that of the K9's inception into the story. You could just watch the last episode. That's all you need. You don't even really need the rest of it. It will make sense at the end. Well, it doesn't, but as much as it's going to make sense, it is there. So there you go. Easy.
So yeah, sorry, Part A is a bit lackluster. They're just two not the greatest stories. I mean, horror's definitely better in my opinion.
Yeah, horror fan.
But even then, it's sort of like that's slow going, man. Horror that was too many episodes long.
Yeah, basically, if you're a fan of gothic horror or of the general Penny Dreadful standard stuff, then you'll probably enjoy it. But other than that, if you like Doctor Who, you might not. If you're intending on going in here and watching some Doctor Who, then stay away from these stories.
Yeah, if you've never watched classic Who before, and somebody says to you, "Hey, do you wanna watch some classic Who?" and then they say the invisible enemy, they're not your friend.
Yeah, they're just not a very good person, honestly. Yeah, you should probably suggest to them just to not just to cut it out.
Exactly.
Hey, cut that out.
Let's stop right there. Go home and think about your life. But this is my home.
No,
go to your bed. Think about it. Yeah, exactly. Bad thing. Don't do it. So with that, we'll move into Part B.
Aye.